How does one understand strength? Well, one cannot simply know strength without knowing Broly, the most tyrannically driven character in the series Dragon Ball Z. With his merciless demeanor and dominant personality, he easily stands out amongst the rest of the cast in Dragon Ball Z. Displaying unbelievable power and demanding respect, he has one of the coolest characters ever conceived. So that begs the question, which Broly is better, Super or Z? This question has plagued the mind of Dragon Ball fans and is still continually argued in discussions across the fandom today. But that's why I'm here, to put an end to this dispute by unpacking the individual aspects of both Brolys and contrasting the differences, and based off this, objectively figuring out which is better and why. How does Super Broly compensate for Z Broly's main flaw? Well, intelligence, or rather rationality and self-awareness, is not a large part of Broly's character fundamentally, as he relies on his propensity to destroy everything around him without realizing the consequences it has. He generally uses anger to fuel his justification for his hateful attacks and undermines everything else. Morality, lawfulness, reasoning just aren't a part of Z Broly's vocabulary. However, what Super Broly does is turns this impression upside down by showing that he displays compassion and empathy towards those who help him. This is a crucial difference between the characters and what motivates them to do different things within the series, and it is what we'll base our criteria on in this video. Z Broly's main motive was to seek revenge on Goku for an absurd reason, crying, whereas Super Broly has depth to his motives and provides ample reasoning for his actions, especially with his interactions with Chilai and Paragus, his father, creating this bonding dynamic with him and other people, ultimately making him softer and more relatable. Now, the main backstory of the character Broly is to indicate that from a young age, he posed a latent ability to be the strongest Saiyan. It was in essence his destiny to realize his superior battle prowess. Now, what both Brolys decide to do with this will determine whether one of them will receive a positive outcome in terms of our character analysis. Z Broly uses his amassed power to destroy things. As he becomes so powerful, he lost excitement and became bored with the mundane and mediocre activities. Despite this, I can see the positives in such behavior for Z Broly, as a huge part of his character is his irrationality and not understanding the meaning of his actions or having an ends. This really matches Z Broly's philosophy aptly and gives us a gauge on his true terrifying nature. In comparison, Super Broly takes this pacifistic approach in applying his power by learning how to hone it instead of exploiting it for selfish means. Now, the way Super Broly got stronger was different, as naturally such a power would be seen as a threat and needed to be exiled, or else there could be a Saiyan revolt. Therefore, Super Broly and Paragus lived on another planet and trained together, actually creating this conventionally sensible training arc where Broly's strength actually seems to make sense and is this gradual increase rather than this insane show of power. With Z Broly's raw power and Super Broly's honed power, there is no comparison, as Super Broly and Z Broly are in totally different category if we are mentioning their sheer battle power together. Although Z Broly's rage doesn't make all that much sense, it still aligns with his inherent personality traits and character motives. It is for this very reason that Z Broly is truly unpredictable in his next action and provides him with a sense of hopelessness, as he simply won't stop until he gets what he wants. Conversely, Super Broly is where he is because of the circumstances and his situation of being the strongest and having to deal with others' jealousy and competitiveness. Super Broly is more like a guy who has to deal with other people who are on his strength level when he just wants to chill. Because of Broly's low intelligence, he is easily manipulated by the characters he deems closest to. Paragus, his father, literally uses him and makes him fight against other Saiyans to prove his unyielding strength. In Z, however, he is so unstable to the point where they have to have a contraption attached to him at all times in order to suppress his rage. How both Brolys deal with this is different, as from Super Broly's perspective, he sees the people who he had a positive interaction with die. But in Z Broly's eyes, this couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, Z Broly only cares about showing off his powers to others rather than using it, so he allows himself to be manipulated by the device. Now, the roles played in both respective shows are different, as Z Broly is a villain by choice and Super Broly is a villain by proxy, and a slave to his circumstances. It's this social naivety that separates both Brolys, one only in it for destructive purposes and the other for social and communication. With Super Broly's desperation for normality and seeking of communication, and Z Broly's distaste for mediocrity and boredom with stagnation. Both Brolys display a magnetism towards naivety, however they both seem to stray from the original philosophy as polar opposites. Despite all of this, to summarize, I see Super Broly as the winner. but it may come down to preference, as if you are a more action-orientated lover, then Z Broly is for you. However, if you enjoy a more sophisticated character with actual development, substance, and personality trait, then Super Broly is the way to go. That is the only definitive way to decide whether one Broly is better than the other. You must categorize and choose which you prefer, rather than see them both as different concepts. They are the same character in the end of the day, and both display the iconic Broly demeanor. Z Broly's lack of hesitation, emotionlessness, and hatred guide him towards a different path than Super Broly. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and sub, as it would be greatly appreciated, and as always, peace! Guys, Bio Broly is obviously the best, okay? Just remember that.